Investigators say Hackman died a week after his wife.
Gene Hackman's wife, Betsy Arakawa, called a medical concierge service sometime before she died.
Gene Hackman's lawyer storms out of court after shocking evidence unveiled, and the tension reached a breaking point. This unexpected twist has everyone asking what was revealed that made his attorney walk out so abruptly. Could this be the game-changing moment in the legal battle over Hackman's estate? Stay with us as we break down the stunning details. Gene Hackman's family. Gene Hackman, a name synonymous with cinematic excellence, led a life as compelling off-screen as the characters he portrayed. Central to his personal journey were his family relationships, marked by love, resilience, and complexity. His story began in 1930 when he was born into a working-class family. Before stepping into Hollywood, he served in the United States Marine Corps, a chapter of his life that instilled discipline and determination. This strong will would later shape both his career and his personal life. In 1956, Hackman married Faye Maltese, beginning a marriage that lasted for 3 decades. Together, they built a life filled with hopes, dreams, and the challenges that come with balancing a family and a growing career. They had 3 children, Christopher Allen, Leslie Ann, and Elizabeth Jean. At the time of their birth, Hackman was still trying to make a name for himself, but as the years went on, his Hollywood career took off. Roles in films like The French Connection and Superman turned him into a household name, but the price of success often meant time away from home. Christopher, the eldest, was born into a world that was quickly changing for his father. By the time he was old enough to understand, Hackman had already begun making waves in Hollywood. Growing up as the son of a legendary actor was no easy task, and Christopher had to find his own identity in a world that often associated him with his famous last name. Unlike his father, he largely stayed out of the limelight, preferring a life away from the flashing cameras and red carpets. His relationship with Hackman, though private, was said to be one of mutual respect, even if they walked different paths in life. Leslie, the middle child, carried a deep creative streak. Much like her father, she found joy in the arts, exploring different forms of self-expression. Whether it was writing, painting, or simply appreciating the beauty of storytelling, Leslie shared a connection with her father that went beyond words. Although Hackman's demanding career sometimes kept him away, there was always an unspoken understanding between them, a bond that did not need constant reassurance. The admiration they had for each other was evident, even if their time together was sometimes limited. Elizabeth, the youngest, was the last to experience the early days of her father's rise to fame. While Hackman had become a well-established actor by the time she was growing up, the challenges of being a famous parent remained. His absence due to work commitments sometimes created distance, but his love for his children was undeniable. Elizabeth, like her siblings, largely stayed away from the Hollywood spotlight. She valued privacy, choosing to live life away from the expectations that came with being a Hackman. In spite of his success, Hackman always held a sense of responsibility toward his family, but the pressures of fame and the demands of his career took a toll on his marriage. After nearly 30 years together, he and Faye Maltese divorced in 1986. It was a difficult decision, but one that marked the beginning of a new chapter in both of their lives. In the early 90s, Hackman found love again with Betsy Arakawa, a classical pianist. Their relationship was different from his first marriage, shaped by years of wisdom and experience. Unlike his earlier days in Hollywood, Hackman had now reached a stage where he could slow down. Stepping away from the constant hustle of the industry, he and Betsy built a quiet life together, away from the chaos of show business, choosing to enjoy a more peaceful existence. Through the years, Hackman's relationship with his children remained a deeply personal matter, rarely discussed in interviews or public appearances. While his life in Hollywood was filled with drama, awards, and unforgettable performances, his true story was always rooted in family. The complexities, the sacrifices, and the love that bound them together formed the foundation of who he was, not just as an actor, but as a father and a man navigating the unpredictable journey of life. But beyond the love and sacrifices that shaped his family, how did Hackman's legendary career translate into financial success? Come with us to know net worth of Gene Hackman. Gene Hackman's net worth is a reflection of his remarkable career, spanning over 6 decades in Hollywood and beyond. Estimated fortune of around $80 million, Hackman has accumulated wealth through a diverse range of ventures, including blockbuster films, best-selling novels, and strategic financial decisions. Although he officially retired from acting in 2004, his legacy continues to generate significant earnings through royalties, book sales, and real estate investments. Hackman's acting career served as the foundation of his financial success. Rising to prominence in the 1960s, he secured a strong foothold in Hollywood with critically acclaimed performances in films such as Bonnie and Clyde in 1967 and The French Connection in 1971, the latter of which earned him an Academy Award for Best Actor. This breakthrough role catapulted him into stardom, leading to a string of high-profile projects. Throughout the 70s, 80s, and 90s, Hackman remained a dominant force in Hollywood, consistently delivering memorable performances in films like Superman in 1978, Hoosiers in 1986, Mississippi Burning in 1988, Unforgiven in 1992, and The Royal Tenenbaums in 2001. His ability to transition seamlessly between action, drama, and comedy made him one of the most versatile and bankable actors of his era. By the height of his career, Hackman was commanding multi-million-dollar salaries for his roles. Reports suggest that in the 90s and early 2000s, he earned around $10 million per film, placing him among the highest paid actors of the time. His ability to select projects that were both commercially successful and critically acclaimed played a crucial role in ensuring steady financial growth. While many actors struggle to reinvent themselves post-retirement, Hackman found a new passion in writing. After stepping away from Hollywood, he dedicated himself to becoming a novelist, proving that his storytelling talents extended beyond acting. Hackman co-authored his first novel, Wake of the Perdido Star, in 1999, a historical adventure novel. Encouraged by the book's reception, he went on to write several more, including Justice for None in 2004, Escape from Andersonville in 2008, Payback at Morning Peak in 2011, and Pursuit in 2013. These books, mostly centered around historical fiction and thrillers, received positive reviews and added another stream of income to his portfolio. While book royalties may not have matched the enormous paychecks of Hollywood, they provided him with financial stability and a creative outlet after retirement. Now, Hackman's wealth is also tied to his strategic real estate investments. Over the years, he has owned multiple properties in desirable locations, capitalizing on the lucrative real estate market. One of his most well-known properties is his sprawling estate in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Santa Fe, known for its stunning landscapes and artistic culture, became the perfect retreat for Hackman as he stepped away from the Hollywood spotlight. His estate, boasting breathtaking views and vast open spaces, symbolizes the success he built over decades in the entertainment industry. Hackman has also bought and sold several high-end properties over the years, demonstrating a keen eye for real estate value and long-term investments. Although Hackman has not appeared in a film since 2004, his movies continue to generate revenue through various channels. His most iconic films are frequently broadcast on television, licensed to streaming services, and sold through DVD and Blu-ray releases. Each time his movies are aired or purchased, Hackman continues to earn royalties, further boosting his financial standing. Streaming platforms such as Netflix, Amazon Prime, and HBO Max consistently feature his classic films, ensuring that new generations of moviegoers are introduced to his work. As a result, Hackman's legacy remains alive, both in cinematic history and in his ongoing earnings. In spite of his substantial fortune, Hackman has chosen to live a relatively low-profile and peaceful life. Unlike many Hollywood elites who indulge in extravagant lifestyles, Hackman has remained grounded, focusing on his passion for writing, painting, and enjoying a quiet existence with his wife, Betsy Arakawa. His disciplined financial decisions have ensured that his wealth remains stable, even without active participation in Hollywood. What happens when a fortune of this magnitude faces the ultimate test, its final inheritance? Let us tell you, the will. Gene Hackman's final will, last updated in 2005, tells a striking story of love, legacy, and an unexpected exclusion. In spite of having 3 children from his previous marriage to Faye Maltese, Hackman made the conscious decision to name his wife, Betsy Arakawa, as the sole beneficiary of his estate. This decision effectively left his children, Christopher, Elizabeth, and Leslie, without a direct inheritance from their father's fortune, a move that raised eyebrows and sparked speculation about his motivations. Reports indicate that Hackman first designated Arakawa as the primary recipient of his assets as early as 1995. Though the specifics behind his reasoning remain private, some believe it reflected the deep bond he shared with Arakawa, whom he married in 1991. While Hackman was known to have a somewhat distant relationship with his children earlier in life, sources suggest that he had reconnected with them in his later years. Yet this renewed connection did not translate into changes in his estate plan. But His will made it clear his wealth was to be entrusted solely to Arakawa. She reportedly succumbed to a rare disease, while Hackman's death followed shortly after due to cardiovascular complications. Meanwhile, the estate's representatives have taken measures to preserve the privacy of Hackman and Arakawa even after their passing. Legal filings have been made to prevent the release of any disturbing footage or images from the scene of their deaths, emphasizing the couple's lifelong commitment to keeping their personal lives away from public scrutiny. Hackman's will reflects a carefully considered decision, one that prioritized his wife above all else despite his later attempts to reconnect with his children. While the public may never fully understand his rationale, his estate stands as a final testament to the choices he made in both life and death. Families share, what did they receive? When the details of Gene Hackman's will came to light, they sparked intense discussions about the fate of his fortune and what it meant for his children. With his wife, Betsy Arakawa, named as the sole beneficiary, many wondered what would happen to his estate now that both had passed. The provisions of the will left many unanswered questions, particularly regarding Hackman's 3 children from his previous marriage to Faye Maltese, Christopher, Elizabeth, and Leslie. Hackman's decision to exclude his children from his will was not entirely unexpected. While some speculated that this was a result of his once strained relationship with his son Christopher, others believed it was a personal choice shaped by his deep bond with Arakawa. Whatever the reasoning, the legal ramifications of his decision became more complex following both of their deaths. For the family, this legal uncertainty added another layer of complexity to an already emotional situation. While reports indicated that Hackman had grown closer to his children later in life, the specifics of his estate planning painted a different picture, one in which his financial legacy was directed solely toward Arakawa. With her passing, the fate of his wealth now lay in the hands of the legal system, which would determine whether his children could receive anything from what remained of their father's vast fortune. Hackman's Santa Fe home, valued at $3.8 million, was another point of interest. Since both Hackman and Arakawa had passed within a short period, ownership of the property became a crucial issue. If Arakawa's estate followed through on her stated wishes, the proceeds from the home sale could end up going to charitable causes rather than to Hackman's children. This created a stark contrast between expectation and reality, leaving many to wonder whether Hackman's children would be entirely left out of their father's legacy. With no direct mention of his children in the will, many assumed they would be left with nothing. But the situation was not as straightforward as it seemed. By law, Hackman's estate could still pass to his children, as they were his closest surviving heirs. Estate law often dictates that when a primary beneficiary passes away, any unallocated or remaining assets could be distributed among the closest living relatives. Since Arakawa did not have children of her own, and her will primarily designated Hackman as her beneficiary, her passing meant that any unresolved assets from her estate could be redirected elsewhere. Legal experts weighed in on the matter, suggesting that Hackman's children might still have a path to inheritance, depending on the specific wording of the will and any contingencies outlined in Arakawa's estate plan. If her assets were to be placed in a trust or distributed to charities after the settlement of outstanding debts, as her will reportedly specified, then Hackman's children could face an uphill battle in claiming any portion of their father's fortune. But if there were gaps in how the estates were structured, the children could have a legitimate claim to at least some of the inheritance. For the family, this legal uncertainty added another layer of complexity to an already emotional situation. While reports indicated that Hackman had grown closer to his children later in life, the specifics of his estate planning painted a different picture, one in which his financial legacy was directed solely toward Arakawa. With her passing, the fate of his wealth now lay in the hands of the legal system, which would determine whether his children could receive anything from what remained of their father's vast fortune. Hackman's Santa Fe home, valued at $3.8 million, was another point of interest. Since both Hackman and Arakawa had passed within a short period, ownership of the property became a crucial issue. If Arakawa's estate followed through on her stated wishes, the proceeds from the home sale could end up going to charitable causes rather than to Hackman's children. This created a stark contrast between expectation and reality, leaving many to wonder whether Hackman's children would be entirely left out of their father's legacy. Regardless of the final outcome, this chapter of Hackman's life story left a profound question hanging in the air. Would his children ultimately inherit, or would their father's fortune follow the path he originally intended? Children's response. The news of Gene Hackman's will sent ripples through Hollywood and beyond, but for his 3 children it was a deeply personal shock. Christopher, Elizabeth, and Leslie had grown up in the shadow of their father's towering legacy, yet they found themselves entirely excluded from his final testament. The revelation left them grappling with a complex mix of emotions: grief, disbelief, and perhaps even a sense of betrayal. Publicly, the Hackman children remained composed, issuing no immediate statements, but sources close to the family suggested that they were blindsided by the will's terms. While their relationship with their father had experienced ups and downs over the years, especially during his demanding career, it was believed that Hackman had rekindled stronger bonds with them in his later years. That only made their exclusion from the will more perplexing. Legal experts weighed in on their possible options. In many states, direct heirs have the right to contest a will, particularly if they can prove undue influence, lack of mental capacity, or procedural errors in its execution. Given Hackman's advanced age at the time of his passing and his reported struggles with cognitive health, some speculated that his children might have grounds to challenge the will. Yet challenging a will is no easy feat. New Mexico law, where Hackman resided, provides legal protections to ensure that a person's final wishes are honored. Additionally, reports suggested that Arakawa's own will had included a contingency plan, directing her estate to charity if both she and Hackman passed within 90 days of each other. This raised further questions. If the estate eventually passed to charitable organizations, would the children have any legal standing to claim a share? Legal disputes and controversies. Beyond the inheritance debate, Gene Hackman's estate faced unexpected legal hurdles that complicated matters further. One major issue was the taxation and financial obligations tied to his vast wealth. Estates of high-profile individuals often undergo intense scrutiny, and Hackman's fortune was no exception. With Arakawa's passing, unresolved debts, property taxes, and potential claims from external parties added layers of complexity. Another unexpected twist involved the rights to Hackman's intellectual property. As an Academy Award-winning actor, his name, likeness, and past works held significant value. Legal experts debated whether these assets could be monetized, or if they were protected under his estate stipulations. If the rights were not explicitly assigned, third parties might attempt to capitalize on his legacy, leading to further legal entanglements. Moreover, whispers of undisclosed agreements surfaced: contracts, investments, or partnerships that had not been publicly revealed. Any such commitments could impact the estate's final distribution, making it a drawn-out process. With multiple legal fronts emerging, it became clear that Hackman's legacy extended beyond his wealth. It was a battle of legal complexities, financial implications, and the fight to preserve his life's work, the unfinished legacy. Throughout his career, Hackman built an empire not just in films, but in the hearts of fans who admired his unparalleled talent. Yet, the division between his personal and professional life had always been stark. Unlike many celebrities who openly embraced the public eye, Hackman had spent the later years of his life in quiet retreat, far removed from Hollywood's spotlight. Some speculated that this detachment extended to his family as well, leading to the surprising decisions outlined in his will. But wealth and property weren't the only things Hackman left behind. His contributions to cinema, literature, and even his reclusive but meaningful later years spoke volumes about the kind of man he was. There was also the matter of public perception. Fans, reporters, and legal analysts all had their own interpretations of Hackman's final wishes. Some saw him as a man who had simply chosen love over obligation, ensuring that his wife was provided for above all else. Others viewed the situation as a heartbreaking example of familial disconnect, where children were seemingly cast aside. As time passed, one thing became clear: Hackman's story wasn't just about the wealth he left behind. It was about their relationships, choices, and mysteries that remained even after his passing. Whether his children ultimately inherited or not, the discussion surrounding his final wishes would remain a defining chapter in the story of Gene Hackman. What do you think about this shocking revelation? Let us know in the comments. If you found this intriguing, don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out more unbelievable stories. Thanks for watching.